And we're living the Vita Loca with the PS Vita. Thank you very much for people who donated, and your name will appear at the end of this video.
Thank you.
I do apologize for my neck beard, but I didn't have time. I was too busy playing the PS Vita.
Now here it is.
Wait a minute,
As
Jay.
you can see, there's...
Wait a minute.
This is it!
There we go.
This thing fits in your pocket, don't you say?
Yeah, this one
This one seems a little weird. So, let's get into the hardware here. First of all, if you compare the screen sizes, this thing is literally the size of an iPhone 4.
Hey, wait a minute, Jay.
Oh, you can actually put an iPhone 4...
And you can scratch the screen on your PS Vita. Yeah, right there.
What do you think of the weight on this thing?
It's very light.
So they're about the same as the 3DS. Now, obviously, the new feature in this bad boy would be the amazing touchscreen on the front. This screen is glorious. It's not... It is glorious.
I would say spectacular.
Spectacular. It has 2 analog sticks. A lot of people are complaining you can't click these in. So when you're doing remote play, you can't play some of the games, but guess what? They're going to do patches on those games and allow you to just touch the screen. So everyone that's complaining like, oh, you can't click these in, it's not a problem. It's just a new way of playing the game. It works great with the touchscreen. The D-pad is now interlocked with all of the the up, down, left, and right. It's all one button now. Now in the old PSP, you had to push it and they didn't move all at once. And then over here, you obviously have your typical PS buttons. Down here, which I find a little bit annoying, is the start and select. They're kind of embossed, but you really have to push on these bad boys.
You gotta push the shit out of them.
Now the home button, which is a very important button on the system, that's the same as this, but luckily it's a little bit bigger.
So on the top of the PS Vita, you have your volume buttons that look exactly like iPhone volume buttons, I must say. Then you have the power button, which is chrome like my dick. And you have the shoulder buttons that feel like 2 pieces of plastic glass.
How does it feel in your hand? I would say that it feels great. The one problem I found is you touch the touchscreen on the back when you do that. So in some games, we'll get into that later, that interferes with it. Now let's move on to the actual game cartridges. There it is. That's a PS Vita card. Once it's into the machine, you cannot take it out while the machine is on. You could corrupt your data.
And it doesn't go into your iMac. I learned the hard way.
Yep. And on top, there's also a port for some sort of accessory. Now on the bottom, you have your connector. So that's a USB to the power port on your computer or to a little adapter that plugs into the wall. And of course, last, you have your headphones. Actually, I have a microphone. That's what that little hole is on the bottom there.
Oh, so it's not what... Oh.
Yeah, it's not what we thought. And a lot of people are assuming it comes with memory.
It doesn't!
It doesn't.
There's a 4GB card, an 8GB card, 16GB card, a
32GB card.
And the 4GB card is $19.99.
Yep, and then it goes up from there. It goes to $29 for the 8GB that I have here. So the memory that you buy for this thing is proprietary, meaning that it's only made for this system. It does not work in any other device. It may look like a micro SD card.
It looks like it, but it ain't. You can't save money, they got you.
Also, it has 2 front and rear cameras. They're 1.3 megapixel cameras, so don't expect to get really good footage on these things because you can record video. As for the pictures, they look like they're from like a 1994 webcam. Games like Little Big Planet, you'll be able to take, you know, photos of like this and put it into Little Big Planet right on the go. That's kind of cool. Then lastly is the rear touchpad. A lot of people are calling it a touch screen. It's a touchpad, get real. This thing is just as sensitive as the front screen, and it is kind of unique. Holding it like this, you do touch it sometimes. So sometimes in games like Wipeout, you do an accidental burst into the wall, things like that. Because it has a touchscreen on the front and a touchpad on the back, you can actually pinch things in games.
You don't have to do it in real life anymore and get arrested.
So that's the overall of the hardware. So next let's get into the software side of things. First thing you'll notice when you turn on this bad boy
is their circle apps.
I'd
like
say
Advil.
that. Yeah,
like
okay.
a pill.
They look like little smarties.
Yeah.
Little smarts.
Yeah.
Little icons that you can move around just like on the iOS. And what's kind of bugging me is I watched a lot of reviews with people saying the touchscreen's not very intuitive. But I don't agree with that. I really think this touchscreen is just as good as an iPhone 4. I would say it's about 99% accurate. Sometimes something goes wrong and it doesn't work. But to be honest, it's never happened to me. I've seen people touch a screen and be lazy about it. Like this. Oh, it's not working. I've seen that in reviews, and get real. Like, it almost looks like you're doing that on purpose to make it look like a bad device. This UI is incredible. Mike actually, you know, he was kind of against this. He didn't want to get portable, and I put it in his hands, and he actually agreed with me that the UI on this system is really, really good. Very intuitive. The way that you get rid of apps,
Page peel.
Page peeling them off is very fun.
That's the game on its own. If that was just the game, I think I'd be happy.
The apps, you can rearrange them any way you want on this screen. You can change the backgrounds on this screen, push the home button once, and it sort of goes to almost like an Xbox, sort of like an Xbox Live ripoff. What this does is sort of bunches everything up into one screen and lets you browse it immediately, opposed to swiping through. Or the other option to do is just swipe to the left and you can actually go through what's open. Close them, like Mike said, with a page peel.
Not hipster, it's just right.
It's just perfect for this.
Doesn't drink Paps.
A lot of these apps, yes, I will admit, are copying the 3DS. So one of them is called Near. It's almost like Street Pass on the 3DS. The only difference with this app called Near is it'll locate everybody within 4 kilometers around you, and you can actually send them messages and you can play games with them. You can also unlock little gifts. First app that you'll launch right away is called the Welcome Park. That basically gets you used to the system, how you use all the features. That's bullshit, delete it right away. I'd rather you go through it on your own and really see what the system can do. The party mode is very cool because that allows you to make a party with other PS Vita users online or just in the room with you on the Wi-Fi. You can do voice chat. Yes, you can. Moving on, you got the PSN store. That's very, very straightforward. You got the game side where you get demos. You get the latest games. When this thing launched, it launched with almost 20 plus games in Japan. Every single one of those games was available for digital download on the App Store here. That's insane. And it's usually cheaper than the physical copy. 4 GB card is not gonna last more than 2 to 3 games, especially if you're gonna get games like Wipeout, which is about 1.2 gigs. You're going to need a memory card when you buy this. If you think about it, you're gonna be downloading your games cheaper anyways, so eventually this card's going to pay for itself.
Yeah, I can still see people why people get frustrated.
I know, but
you're
still gonna, yeah, but you still
should be included.
It should be, but it isn't. That's
right.
the main thing here. I don't really, it doesn't bother me. You got your friends list, which is very unique to this. You can actually hook up your PSN account from your PS3 right to this device, see your friends list, and an amazing thing that we did last night was I started playing Wipeout. I created a group on this. Mike went on his PS3 upstairs, and guess what? We played together. I played on this little device here, this version of Wipeout. He played Wipeout HD. It worked flawlessly.
And I beat you every time.
Yep, because I'm not used to this. Next, you have your trophies. That's very self-explanatory. You've got a web browser on here. I'm not even gonna get into it. It doesn't support Flash. It's a piece of shit. I'm not going to use that. You've got music abilities on here. You can download your music from your PS3 or your Mac or your PC and actually send things to it and back it up on your PC. Shit, what do I want to play today? I only have a 4 gig card.
Yeah.
You can go to your PS3, say, put that on the PS Vita. I'm going to play that today.
Right.
Then you have videos, self-explanatory, same as the PSP. It plays MPEG-4, H.264, whatever it is.
H.264 QuickTimes.
Then you have your content manager. That simply is a launch app that just goes into your PS3. You got Google Maps on here. Got Remote Play, which is having a lot of issues. It didn't work with every game, but I was playing like original PSP games. And I was also playing PS1 games. You also have Twitter. That's an app you download from the App Store on here as well. The apps themselves are made by third-party companies. So Netflix is on here, so they made their own app.
Netflix, it works exactly like it does on the PS3. If you have Netflix on the PS3, it looks exactly the same. If you ever watch Netflix on your iPhone or an iPad, it's like that.
So that's covering all the software on this device. Now there's a game called Unit 13. They have a demo already in the PSN store on launch day, which is really cool. What you can do with this is the back pad, when you're zooming down the scope, what it does is moves the camera from your right side of your to the left side.
The switcheroo.
That's switcheroo.
So the old Indian switcheroo.
It's like this. It's like this. Sort of becomes second.
Just another. It's another. They found a place to put another button, basically.
And it shows you everything this game can do, and it really is just really exciting because it shows you what a third-person shooter can be on this system.
Not Uncharted.
And yeah, it's not just Uncharted. And Uncharted, you know, it's an okay game. If I had to score Uncharted just from playing as much as I have, I would only give it a 7.
It did kind of turn me off from it. You're
yeah.
expecting the console experience, but you're not going to get that.
No, you have to look at this as a mobile device. Now let's get into the battery life of this thing. It's about 4 hours of continuous gameplay with the highest settings. Comparing these two in terms of battery life, I haven't noticed a difference at all. They take the same amount of battery juice to play games or listen to music. If you listen just to music and put it in standby mode, it lasts 9 hours. Little Big Plan's coming out next month, so I'm very excited about that. The ability to be able to create your maps on this thing is going to be really cool, and then share them with the PS3. That's amazing. MotorStorm RC, which is a lot like MotorStorm for the PS3, except you're racing around with little RC cars. And there's a ton of other games that you can see right here that just look really cool.
I think my favorite on the system so far is Rayman Origins.
And it really shows off the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows you the difference between the 3DS and this.
It uses every functionality on the PS Vita, Rayman Origins, and I think personally if you had to pick one that's out now, I'd say get Rayman Origins.
Hell yeah. People are going to say, no, get Uncharted, but Rayman Origins is the perfect example of a game that should be on a mobile device.
It's a very impressive platformer game, even on the console version, but to play it on this is awesome.
It's amazing. Just the resolution, just... Oh.
And then I think number 2 would have to be this.
Oh yeah, it's great. So a lot of people are saying the frame rate is not as good as the PS3, and obviously it isn't.
Let's get this clear. It's not going to look as good as the PS3.
At least for a few years.
Almost there.
It's very, very close, but these are first-party titles that are made by Sony, a lot of them, and they're not even using the full potential of the system as usual on launch. And it's very fancy to see almost a PS3 in your hand, but just imagine a couple years from now. As for the sound, you've got 2 speakers on the front here. They're not the best. Not as good as the 3DS sound, I will admit that.
You're expected to wear headphones.
Yes.
If you want a nice audio, you can get headphones. I'm actually working on a portable surround sound system that's suspended on your head. MikeRuinStereo.com.
Well, do you recommend a purchase for $300? Because you have to pay $250 for this, and keep in mind a 4 gig card is $20. So after taxes, $300 to hold this in your hand.
Well,
and that's with no games.
I think I would wait for some more titles, to be honest. Rayman Origins is fun, but I think that's not enough for me to get the PS Vita. I think I would want to wait for more AAA titles.
What you're saying is Uncharted didn't do it for you.
No, it's something that's exclusive to this.
Exactly.
I can't get on the PS3.
Exactly. All of the titles that came out were either sequels for the most part.
What PS Vita did take to the next step is the augmented reality. The 3DS did an excellent job. What this does, it kind of like basically polishes the technology. You see a little dude diving into your floor and it actually picks up the texture of your floor. You can set up a little football arena on your desk and you see like a little 3D blimp. It really goes kind of nuts.
Another thing where you shoot lasers off of each card and these little lasers are like hitting things and you have to launch the rocket. Now, are we going to use that in games? I don't see myself like throwing cards down on a coffee table.
Come on over, boys.
Yeah. Eventually, they could release a Pokemon game with those cards that could be mind-blowing and it would sell like hotcakes.
Or Magic. Jay, what don't you like about PS Vita?
Some of these apps here are completely ridiculously pointless. For instance, you have a party app on here and a group messaging system and your friends list. Why didn't they put that all into one app? It's definitely confusing at times because you have to switch between the apps depending if you're sending a message to somebody on the PS Vita or the PS3. Is it a group message? It's not working with the PS3 right now, so you have to send it individually. Voice chat seemed to not work between the PS3 and the Vita.
We tried, it didn't work for us.
We tried
several times.
Yeah, we tried all sorts of things, and some things are working right now and some are not. Biggest complaints I have right now is on the PSN network, there's an error that a lot of people are getting, but Sony seems to not want to fix. I cannot purchase anything on the store right now. It just says error. Can't add money to the wallet. So right now Sony doesn't want me to spend money.
It's like when we asked for cheese from that hot dog vendor.
Yeah, and he goes, no cheese.
Illegal.
That's ridiculous. Facebook on here is a piece of shit. So bad that it's been taken off the store and I haven't even tried it. You can't even update your status. I don't even know where I am. One last thing that's cool that I do like about this, it has notifications. And that bubble pops up on the top, you tap it, it tells you what's going on in the system.
Tells you what's going on with your life.
Yeah. It's not called the cross media bar anymore. It's called the live arena. It's always updating things. There's so much you can do on the system. A lot of people were thinking that these little nubs were not going to be good enough. I disagree. They do take maybe 10 minutes to get used to, but then you're right into it.
But honestly, that is my one thing. The thumbsticks.
You don't like them.
I don't like them.
I love them.
I think they could have been a little bit bigger. I can't get my way no matter what. I like the diameter on the 3DS, but I hate the 3DS joystick. Not hate, but I hate the way it slides around like this.
Yeah.
And that has the right pivot, but it's just not big enough. That's the only thing I don't like. I don't like the joysticks that much.
A little bit of a nitpick. The X button is really close to the second analog stick. So, in closing, Mike, you're saying that maybe wait. You would say that when Call of Duty Little Big Planet, God of War comes out for this thing, it's probably going to be like almost a must-own when
if they're good.
Yeah.
If the games are good, yeah.
What would it take for you to buy this thing?
I think for a device, a console or handheld, it's really software. And I just don't think there's enough here yet to buy it, for me personally.
I have to be honest, do I go out and buy this for $300 with just a memory card? I'm like some 17-year-old kid who saved up all summer. I would say wait maybe 2 to 3 months just to see some of those next titles coming out. It really comes down to the software. It's not at the point where you go out and buy it yet, and it has nothing to do with the price. If it was $250 a year from now and it had the great titles, I still would buy it for $250. I feel like they really learned on this one. Yeah. They really learned. I mean, the 2 analog sticks, the touch screens, the touchpad goes into an amazing package. I think it's a huge, bright future for this bad boy here.
So thank you so much for people who helped donate it.
And last but not least, if you have a PS Vita, you want to be my friend, email me, jason@3kb.ca. Send me a picture of the system in your hand and your username. That will verify that you actually have it so we can actually play together.
And your blood type, your horoscope, and your turn-ons.
Yeah, let me know.
Thank you very much.
Moving on to the top of the device, you have
your
volume. No?
We gotta do something.
Okay, come on. We're in the roll. We almost got it done.
You're on a fucking roll.
I'm gonna roll you out onto a tray and cook you.